So we've decided to come outside because it's a beautiful sunny day, and here I am with Lisa. Hello, Lisa.
Hello, Eric.
How are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Lisa, you are part of the clothing at Sycamore Motorrad, is that right?
That is right, clothing, parts, accessories, whatever.
Clothing, parts and accessories.
Coffees. Human entertainment.
That's a good point, actually, because we're sat outside on one of the round tables, and if people come for a service at the moment during lockdown, even though things are relaxed a little bit, we're still giving them coffees, aren't we?
Indeed.
To have out here as well. All right, so Lisa, the reason why I wanted to talk to you was I wanted to know your journey to here, to working at Sycamore Motorrad. So when was your first sort of love affair with motorcycles?
Oh, way back when I was 21 at university.
Okay.
I was going out with someone who had a Honda CBR.
All right.
And I used to go on that a lot and loved it, and I always wanted to learn.
All right. So have you been a motorcycle rider since you were 21? Or
No, God no, hadn't ridden at all.
Okay.
Kind of left university, got married, got a job, got a horse, had children.
All right,
and time marched on.
But this was still in the back of your mind?
Yeah.
All right. So what made you take the plunge and start riding a motorcycle?
I got to a certain age and thought, I'm going to do it
before
a big birthday, and I've got a really good friend who has a BMW, and he took me to the NEC and knew that I really wanted to learn. So he took me to visit the BMW stand, and I fell in love with the bikes, and then we discovered rider training.
Okay. The rider training, tell me about that.
I went with Ian Biederman down in Royston in Hertfordshire, and I decided to do a direct access course, which is a week-long course, sort of from zero to hero, if you like.
Okay. Is this like the rookie to rider?
It is like the rookie to rider, but it's not with the bike. At the end, you just pay for the training as such, and then you buy your own bike and clothing at the end. But I didn't have any clothing or equipment, so thankfully they lend you everything, and I had to buy a helmet, which is how I ended up discovering this place.
Okay, so you came here to buy a helmet.
I did, yes.
All right, and you fell in love with the place as much as motorcycles, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, there was just a really good team, and they were really interested in what I was doing, and wanted to know how I got on.
Yeah.
And then when I passed, I came back here just to buy a jacket, and then I bought a bike, and it's
so you became a bit of a regular.
I did, yes.
Okay,
yes.
What was your first bike?
I stupidly, I would learn to ride with rider training on a 700 GS, and I always wanted a 1200 GS.
Okay.
So I stupidly bought one off of eBay without seeing it, and had it delivered to discover that it was huge, because I'm not very tall.
Okay.
And I couldn't ride it because I couldn't reach the floor at all. So I came here and bought a low seat.
Right.
To see if that would solve the problem, and it didn't. And I kept dropping it. And one day I dropped it on the driveway, and there's me and my 60-year-old mother trying to haul this bike up. So at that point I thought, I need to get a bike I can actually ride. So I then bought a 700 GS.
Okay. So you still love the GS?
Still love the GS, still love the brand, still love the BMWs. So kept that for a year. And but always loved the GSA. GSA was my kind of dream bike at the time.
No.
But again, they're so huge, I just thought there's no way I could ever own one. And again, coming here for coffees and riding, David here told me that they had a low frame GSA in stock if I wanted to take it for a test ride. Cunning David. So I did, and it fitted perfectly, and I bought it.
Lovely. So that was the GS7.
GSA, that was
GSA.
the 1200 or 1200 GSA Adventure, triple black, beautiful.
So that's the triple black GSA.
Triple black GSA.
Why is it called a triple black?
Because it's all black.
Oh, there you go.
Everything's black.
But why triple black? Why is it three black? Okay.
I guess, I don't know, the tank's black.
Okay.
Engine bar, I don't know, yeah.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah.
All right. So then you've got the triple black then. Are you working at BMW Sycamore by then?
No, I was working for the police force at the time in the control room.
Wow.
And like I say, I was a customer here and coming here constantly for coffees on my days off, and became really good friends with Michelle, who was my predecessor, and obviously Dan and all the guys. And then when Michelle decided she was moving on, I just happened to say to TJ flippantly, this would be my dream job. So he said, well, if you want to come and have a chat, come and have a chat.
Oh, nice.
So I did, and I gave up my job with the police and came and did this, and it's
a bit different.
Completely different.
Okay.
Completely different.
So now you're sitting standing and sitting and working around all these nice new motorcycles. Did that affect how you thought about the bike that you were riding? Was there any kind of I wish I had this, or I could be
I always wanted to do the off-road school in South Wales, Simon Pavey's place. So I managed to do that.
Nice.
Which was amazing. I just did level 1 over a weekend in South Wales, very wet South Wales, which was brilliant. So that was good fun.
Was that with your triple black?
No, they supplied the bike, so
Okay.
it was with a 1200 GS Rally.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Low frame.
Low frame, obviously, because you're titchy. All right. And then from then on, you're working here, and that's when you got the bike behind you, I believe.
Yeah. I like I said, I test rode that one weekend, and then came back and said that's it, I want to buy it, and that was last June.
Okay. Now, I'm going to tackle the elephant in the room here, that you are a lady.
A lady.
A lady. So what was the perception of you when you started riding? What did your husband think first of all?
He didn't want me to do it because he just thought it was too dangerous.
Was that because you were his wife, or because you're a lady, or
because I'm his wife
Okay.
and the mother of his children, probably.
Mm-hmm.
But I say I'd always ridden horses all my life, and I wouldn't let anyone really tell me what to do like that.
Right,
so and I think
you're a
now,
strong lady.
Yeah, and I think now when I passed my test, I was obviously quite wobbly, and I think he worried a lot. But now he knows that I'm pretty sensible, and I've done a lot of training and carry on doing training, and yeah, it's good.
Okay,
it's
good. All right, so your husband then says, okay, that's all right. What about your family? What were they like with you?
And my boys think it's pretty cool, because I think their friends think they've got quite a cool mum, particularly now I've got a new bike.
Yeah.
So no, they're good.
All right. And then when you go on ride outs and things like this, is there anything that differentiates you between the male riders? Do they treat you any differently?
Not really, not at all.
No.
I mean, in fairness, they are very kind. If if you're struggling to move your bike or whatever, they will always offer to help. I can honestly say I've never experienced any discrimination, nasty discrimination.
Yeah.
It's always been positive. They're always
chivalrous.
Pleased. You're very,
Okay.
And it's the same at work here. They don't know that I ride, and they don't know what I ride, and then when they find out those things, they're always very surprised. And
But it helps you with the parts and the selling of the clothing and all that kind of stuff.
I think you have to know the product and have a love of the product, which is I think what we all have in here in Sycamore's, is that we are all riders, and we all love the brand and love the product.
Okay, I know we can see that from the beautiful bike behind you, of course. All right, so just going off the point a little bit, and I want to pick your brains about the clothing just a little bit here, because we're obviously sat outside because it's hello
James.
Would you believe it, a motorcycle here of all places. So we're sat outside in the sun, and it's glorious weather. The thought of putting leathers on in this kind of weather doesn't seem very appealing, but you should still wear your leathers, is it?
For sure. I mean, when I got dressed this morning to come to work, putting the jacket on is the last thing you want to do, and the gloves. And it's awful when you're sat at traffic lights or just sat still, but as soon as you're moving, it's wonderful, and you can't risk your skin.
Yeah,
I'm afraid.
absolutely.
So
we both know someone that had quite a nasty little graze on their arm and whatnot. Okay, so clothing is, we spoke to Michelle last week or the week before, depending on when we're going to show this, and she was telling us about some of the rules and regulations. We're sort of in a bit of a grey area at the moment, aren't we, where it comes now, because as we're recording this, we've just heard that things are opening up a bit more. But we are open for clothing, we're open for helmets and that kind of thing. Do we have any of the balaclavas yet?
they haven't arrived yet, no.
Okay, so we'll let people know on Facebook or whatever when the balaclavas arrive. Excellent. Okay, thank you. That was great. Many happy years. What am I saying? I hope you have many more happy years on your bike. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Eric.